Here we have ingredients to white icing, which the recipe is an Alfred State traditional recipe that is listed on the website. Here we have shortening, confectioner sugar sifted, lukewarm water, and an ounce of vanilla. This is a half of the recipe that you will see because I wanted to be able to fit it in this mixer. First, we're going to take the shortening and put it in the bowl. This is about 1.5 pounds of shortening. We're going to cream this first so we know that the shortening is smooth. You're going to mix this on low. As you can see, the shortening starts to stick to the paddle, so you want to just scrape that down. You can use a hand spat, a bench knife, it doesn't matter. Continue mixing. Now you want to lower your mixing bowl. Scrape the sides of the bowl, just in case there are hard chunks of shortening. Now we're going to add a portion of the sugar to make sure that we cream the shortening together. Preferably adding 1 pound is easier. This here is 2.5 pounds. We're going to add a little bit of water because we don't want the sugar to fly all over the place. Now we're going to continue mixing on low. You can give it a few seconds and then stop it and scrape down again. Trust me, this is a very messy icing. As you can see, I'm scraping not only the sides but also under the icing. We're going to continue mixing now. At this point, we're going to add the rest of the sugar. I find it easier to use scoops because you see how the scoop goes directly in the bowl. If you use a bowl, it's hard to maintain that. As you can see, all the sugar is up to the top, so we're going to add more water so that we don't have a big explosion here. When it comes to the water, you can add as much to your consistency. I like my white icing nice and smooth. Some like it more thick. I like to just pulse it because that stops it from going all over the place more. Here you see the lumps right here, you can just scrape that down so the sugar gets every little bit of that. Sometimes I like to just use my hand because it's way easier than trying to fit this in there. Continue mixing on low. Gonna stop the mixer and scrape down again. It's very important to scrape down because you don't want chunks in your icing. You don't want to take a bite of your cake and have a big piece of shortening there. It is important to mix your icing only on the low speed because you don't want to get too much air into your icing and you will have air bubbles when trying to ice. Continue mixing. We have a little bit of more water here. We're going to add that in. Lowering the bowl to scrape down one more time. Some people don't like making white icing because it's very time consuming. Continue mixing, and we're going to add our ounce of vanilla. When it comes to vanilla, I like to do it to taste because everyone has their preference. Some don't like it that sweet and some like it way sweeter than others. As you can see, it's getting way smoother. Icing tends to pile up on the side, so this is why we keep scraping. Continue. We're going to stop mixing, remove the paddle, and remove the bowl. It's important to get every icing. Every bit counts. Scrape down, just mix it all together so you don't have a big mess in the bowl. As you can see, this is the consistency of the icing, nice and smooth. If you try to ice this on a cake, you're going to get a really good icing.